Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Dawson. Welcome to Can You Relate, Cleveland's and Northeast Ohio's relationship show. We have a full show for you today. We're going to be talking about, with our Roundup crew, do opposites attract? Also, do you have babysitter woes? Are you having trouble getting a babysitter so you and your partner can go out? Another topic we're going to talk about is, what if a family is moving to a different country? How do they manage that? Well, let's find out. Family dynamics can be challenging, but what if your entire family is moving to another country? There's all kinds of issues that you have to deal with, you know, the legal side of it, the whole cultural side of it. I am so delighted to welcome Margaret Wong to the set. Margaret, you are an attorney that does immigration law, correct?
Yes.
And you have personal experience with this.
Absolutely.
Is that what motivates you to get into your profession?
Yes and no. I was going to be a doctor. And the last year of college, I thought, oh my gosh, if I made a mistake, I'll probably kill someone. So I became a lawyer instead.
Good move. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your personal experience in this whole thing about moving to another country and how you got into this.
I came from Hong Kong in 1969 in the height of the Vietnam era. So in those days, you really only have two choices. You stay in Hong Kong and finish grade 13, and there's only one university. Now we have 4 universities, and only the best and the brightest get to go.
Okay.
Or you can either go to Europe or America, and you can leave Hong Kong at the age of 18 after grade 12. So I decided, my parents decided to send me to the U.S. to go to school.
All right. So what would be your advice for a family in this situation? Now, sometimes the parents go first and then they have kids in the country, and the kids are U.S. citizens then, right?
There are really only 2 ways when you think about traveling. One is, for example, we go to Mexico on a cruise, we go to Dominican on a cruise, and then you don't need a visa because they want our business and tourism.
Okay.
But if you go to, for example, Brazil on business on 4 days, you still have to pay them like $160, $180 for a visa for those 4 days.
Wow.
Right. But at least you pay, you can get going.
Okay.
In fact, I was in Kenya just a few months ago to receive a degree, and from Kenya you can actually pay at the airport in Kenya to get a visa. So each country is different, but coming to America is increasingly becoming very, very difficult.
And so what is the biggest obstacle, would you say, for a family coming to America from another country?
And I'm so glad you asked that question, because we are so lucky to be Americans. You apply for a visa, you go. You have never had a problem if you go to France, you go to Israel, you go to Germany, you go to China, you apply for a visa, you go. They may charge you more, they may charge you less.
All right.
In America, they charge you about $150 to $200 to apply for one tourist visa. If that visa is denied, you have to pay a second time to apply. So if you have a family of 4, you pay them $600 US to apply for that visa, and that money goes to the State Department.
Oh.
That's why the American general public doesn't know that. No. They thought, oh, our taxpayers pay for the people who works in the State Department on visa department. That's not true. It's the tourists themselves who pay the payrolls.
Now I have a quick question. Why would a visa be denied? What's an example?
85% of the tourist visa are being denied in countries like Korea, Philippines, China, because they're worried about these visa holders coming to America and they don't leave. That's why the Mexicans, they don't even come with a visa. They come with no visa because they know if they go apply for a visa.
You know, this whole thing could really rip apart a family, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, and so you are there to help them navigate through all of this.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful information. Thank you for being on the show. And if people want to get a hold of you, if you're in this situation or you know someone who's in this situation, you can give Margaret Wong and Associates a call at 216-566-9908 or go to your website at iamwong.com. Thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Stay tuned because we have the Relationship Roundup coming up next.
Up next, do opposites really attract? Our Relationship Roundup looks at both sides of the question. And later in the show, unlocking the secrets to selling your home sweet home.
For those who struggle with drug and alcohol addiction, finding the courage to change is the first step to lasting recovery. Discover life in recovery. Discover Glen Bay.
Glen Bay, nationally recognized drug and alcohol treatment for adults. Discover more at glenbay.com.
We've got the Relationship Roundup again. This is where my friends get to come sit on the couch and answer a relationship topic. But before we ask the question, I would like everybody individually to just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Laura Zoldesy, and I'm married with 2 kids, 10 and 6, and we've been married for 15 years.
Wonderful. Welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm Annie Flaherty. I've been married 14 years. I have 3 beautiful daughters and a grandson.
Wonderful.
My name is Rochelle Abuji. I have 3 children, and I've been married for 6.5 years.
Great. Welcome all of you. Now here is the age-old question of, do opposites attract? Do you think opposites attract, or is that just a myth?
I don't know. I think they might attract, but I don't know if they're good for the long haul. If you're really opposite. I think you can be opposite in some things, but I think if you're opposite on major things, you're going to hit some roadblocks along the way.
Okay.
I really do.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I was going to say, I think opposites attract, and it could be it's a good thing because you have strengths in different areas, so you can complement one another. I mean, if we both had personalities like me, I would probably shoot myself. But my husband balances it a little bit because he's the anchor, and I'm kind of the floating, butterfly that goes everywhere.
So let me guess, you're probably more emotional?
Yes.
And he is more, not that you're not logical, but he has less of the verbal side.
Yes, and he's the thinker, and I'm more of the expressor.
Yes.
I think that's typical of men and women, though, right? I mean, I think we're all kind of going to be opposite because we're men and women.
And I think that comes back to opposites attracting, too. If you have some really good core values that you share, then the opposites can kind of like, my husband's very analytical, so he bounces off a little bit of my impulsiveness, and and I hurry him along. We can't make, we can't spend all this time making a decision, nor do we want to, make it right away. But I think, like, kind of from the grandma perspective, too, I wish opposites attract because it's like what you said. It can be a little spicy. It's like vinaigrette. Oil and water, oil and water, but it's only great, like what you said, for a salad, not a whole meal, and you want to like that,
exactly right.
that undercurrent, kind of. Yeah.
So when you're saying there needs to be a stronger similarity in certain areas, what do you mean by that? Like, in what areas do you think you need to be similar?
I think core values for me could be faith, could be what you want as far as your idea about family, roles, what direction you're heading towards. I think those things, like my husband and I are very different in the external things, but our core values about the things that we want, we do agree. There's not an argument about those things.
So when you guys were dating your mates, did you know right off the bat that you had the core values together, or was that something that kind of grew over time?
We were really young when we started dating, so I mean, we were still in high school, so it was just, we got to know each other and kind of grew up together, I think.
I think we did. We knew we had core values, and I think people thought you guys are so different, but because we got to know one another and we kind of knew that we had similar core values, the external, the outside really didn't matter. So it's like we have chocolate cake, but I might have pink frostings with sprinkles with your analogy for food.
So you're soft food. Are we hungry?
By the way, I'm sorry. So interests can be opposite, right? I think that makes it more interesting.
I also think opposites like that adds a certain physical attraction. My husband and I were very lucky because we were very physically attracted to each other at first, and it turns out we have a lot of core values. To this day, we go, thank goodness that we agree on a lot of this, because when we met, both of us, we go, that wasn't who I really was.
I think
really
that happens a lot. I think people get drawn to each other because of that chemistry.
Yes.
And they miss the fact that their core values aren't the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Love this topic. We could go on for a whole other segment on this. Thank you so much for being on the couch.
Thank you.
And if you want to add your 2 cents, you can do so by going to Facebook or tweet us, and we'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned because we have Rate Your Relationship coming up next.
You've got a date with your mate, but too often you cancel because finding someone to care for your kids is too complex. Do you decide not to go because you can't find a babysitter? You can't afford a babysitter. You feel guilty about leaving your kids with a babysitter. You're tired of being the one who has to try to find the babysitter. Well, Coach Kathy isn't sitting this one out. Her answer is next.
If you answered yes to these questions, you know, I understand. It can be a daunting task to get a babysitter. I have to tell you, I know it's like we can't afford it, we don't know anybody, but it's the best investment you'll ever make in your relationship. Now, one of the best ways to get a sitter, I think, is by getting referrals, whether it's from friends, relatives, church, and there is guilt. All right, you're going out, you may feel guilty. Here's the thing, feel the guilt and do it anyway. The other thing I recommend is that the 2 people in the relationship alternate getting the babysitter, because how many times do you feel like, ugh, I got to get the sitter again? So every other week, one person gets the sitter, and the other person gets the sitter, and you'll go out and have a great time. If you know anybody who would like to take the survey, they can do so by going to CanYouRelateTV.com. Stay tuned, we have more of Can You Relate coming up.
Just ahead, looking to sell or buy a home in this market? We may have the key. And later, is following doctor's orders always the best prescription? Find out how to measure medical advice.
Hi, I'm Alex with Northeast Factory Direct, where we have over 50 sofas for $3.99 each. You can get a 6-person hot tub for $39.99. We've got carpet as low as $1.49 a square foot installed with padding at Northeast Factory Direct.
Log on to WKYC.com right now for great deals on golf. Some of the best golf courses in Northeast Ohio are offering golf for 50% off. So log on and grab those clubs.
Recently, we have had some emails from viewers talking about selling homes, buying homes, asking, you know, is this really a good time to buy, or maybe we should rent? Well, we have Eileen McKeon from Howard Hanna Services here, Real Estate Services, the McKeon Group.
Correct.
Thank you for coming back.
Sure.
Always love to hear what you have to say. So this is a question a lot of people are asking themselves. You know, is this a time to buy a house, or maybe we should rent? What do you think?
Yeah. It's definitely a good time to buy. There's a lot of mixed messages in the media. Everyone sort of has an agenda to push, but I think if we step back and a few things. I was just out in Las Vegas for this conference, and you talk about a depressed market. They're down 70% of value. They're down. They're predicting their market not coming back till 2055.
Oh, come on.
So we have to keep in perspective in Cleveland that we don't ever go so high that we crash so low. Our predictions are more like 3 to 5 years out before we're up again, but every indicator, Wall Street Journal, Fortune Magazine, John Paulson, the investor, everyone has got us down at the bottom, and you know, the next 3 or 4 years everything is going up.
Oh, wow, that's great news.
Additionally, interest rates, that's the second thing. 5% interest rates, every indicator is interest rates will also be climbing. So you can still get a 5% 30-year fixed loan. You know, 25 years ago we had 18% interest.
We bought our first house at 17%.
Yeah. So the interest rates are still, you know, excellent. Inventory, there are tons. You know, every market has got a lot of homes for sale, especially in that buy-up market where values have come down. I mean, some markets are down by 10%, some are down by 30%. So if you're looking, if you're concerned about losing on your current house, the upside is you can lose on a lesser house but gain more on the bigger house. So you're going to, if you're buying and selling in the same market, you will, you know, take maybe a loss on your house, but you'll gain on the purchase.
Can you give a specific example of that?
Yeah, the what we're talking about is buying power. That if you wait around and think, I'm going to wait for a couple of years to buy, and the interest rate goes to 6%, the value, if that house goes up in cost, it's going to end up costing you more. Even if the house goes down in cost and the interest rate goes up, you're going to be paying more in your mortgage every month and being able to afford less.
Okay.
So right now, 5% interest rates, the values are down. There's a lot to choose from. It's basic supply and demand.
So let's picture this. We sell our house. We maybe don't make as much, right? But we're buying a bigger house for less interest, and I think what you're saying is in the next 3 to 5 years, that bigger house is going to appreciate.
Correct.
So you will, in the big picture, make up the money that you might think you would have lost but really didn't lose.
Exactly. I mean, when quickly, I know if you lay out, if you took $100,000 and invested 10 years ago in the Dow, in the NASDAQ, in a house, even every single one of those is down compared to a house. Even though we've gone through this correction cycle, the house is still a long term. You get the mortgage interest write-off. There's still so many benefits to owning a home.
Boy, good information. And renting, probably not a good, because people always say renting, you throw your money out the window.
It's true. Very few people it may serve if the right circumstances, but for the long haul, you're better served. If you're going to stay in the house for 3 years, I'd say.
Okay, wonderful information. Dick, let's get another house.
Sure.
Just kidding. All right. If you want to sell or buy a home, give Eileen a call. You can get a hold of her at 216-233-6726 or go on the website, themckeongroup.com. Stay tuned. We have Romance Review coming up.
Next, your physician feels a treatment is right for you, but what he recommends doesn't feel right to you. We'll help you interpret your doctor's intentions. Then, a mom worries her grown-up son isn't making a good adult decision. Coach Kathy offers her own conclusion.
For centuries, candlelight has been used to create a romantic ambiance. Whether as sconces on a wall, a centerpiece for a romantic meal, or a strategy for mood lighting, candles convey the message to your mate, let's slow down the hectic pace of life and take time to enjoy each other's company. In particular, votive candles are fun because they are small, come in packs of 100, and they're easy to use. As a border around a bathtub, they set the stage not only for romance but relaxation. Used as a trail up a staircase or to a particular location, they create a dramatic invitation. Because they are so portable, you can even use them to spell out the lighted message, I love you, or create the shape of a heart in lights. No matter how you choose to use your votives, you'll not only light up the room, you'll light up your partner's life.
Everybody wins when you decide to donate your ride to Our Lady of the Wayside.
Our Lady of the Wayside is so much more than a car donation program. For over 40 years, we've helped thousands of physically and mentally challenged citizens live more comfortable lives within our network of homes. Our services range from assisting with personal care to developing productive personal growth. With your generous support and help, we can reach out to so many more. Y'all can help. Visit wayside.org or stop in to see us today. You can change lives.
What do you do when your relationship with your doctor doesn't fit with your relationship with your body? Doctor's orders. But what do you do if your body tells you something else? I'm so delighted to have Mary Sheehan back from you own a company called Good Medicine, and you're a pharmacist.
I am.
So tell us about that, because there is a tension of opposite kind of thing.
It is. It's interesting. There's this whole culture we live in where there's a lot of information. There's a lot of experts at our fingertips and in regular life, our providers. There's all this information coming from outside of ourselves. And what I'd like to see people do is tap into a little bit about the information inside themselves. I mean, for example, if you knew your body reacted to an antibiotic with hives or a rash, you would tell your physician, and that's valid information.
Right.
That's just something,
or she needs to know.
Right. That's valid information from within you. Your body doesn't agree. The chemistry of that antibiotic doesn't agree with your chemistry. Well, I also see with certain medications where the person just, I don't care how many studies there are, they just don't feel good on it. And I always say to them, that's valid information. Your body is telling you something. You need to have a discussion with your provider. Well, they'll be mad if the medicine doesn't work and they told me to take it.
there are options, there are choices, and that's another level. And then there's also a whole other level of just something just doesn't quite feel right. I
have a story, a quick story to tell. Go ahead. My father in 1987 passed away while having an angioplasty. And the day of the procedure, he had a gut feeling and he tried to check out of the hospital.
Wow.
And he didn't check out for various reasons. And they shot dye into him, and I won't go into it. Anyway, he had a gut feeling. And he tried, but then he went, he second guessed it, and you know.
I think
that's kind of that's a very dramatic example.
It is, but it makes the point that we do have certain feelings about things, and we're kind of taught to not listen to that because we have to listen to the studies and the experts and everything else. And I really love helping people kind of tune into that, and sometimes they're not even aware that that's what's happening.
Right.
That they're getting that feeling.
Sure. So now you got to. I think what I hear you saying is you want to balance information your doctor has, which, by the way, you don't have. I mean, you can go on the internet all you want, but I'd rather hear it from a doctor.
Right. They're experts. They've got the education and the expertise, and that is so valuable, and we should be so grateful for that. But yet, we also have information about ourselves that is also very valuable. All
right. So this is a generational thing. I am a doctor's worst nightmare because I have a million questions. I question them and I'm challenging them. When you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, this is, in that generation, they didn't do that.
No, they didn't.
What are some tips you can give people who aren't, they're intimidated by the doctor?
Have someone go with you that's maybe not, and come prepared. And I see that a lot where people want to explore something maybe they saw on TV. I'd write it down. What do you think of this? And that's not questioning them. That's asking a question. What do you think of this doctor? That's not saying you're going to take or not take the advice, but it's a valid question. You have the right to ask it. If you can write it down or bring someone with you, you're your ally.
Here's a question.
Okay.
What if the doctor says you need a scan of your sinuses, and you think, I don't want to do that. They put dye into me. Something tells me I just don't want to be on the table and do that.
You need to have a discussion. I mean, that's a valid concern. Why don't you want to do it? Do you just need more information? Are there any options? What are we going to gain from doing this? Can you tell me why do you want this? What are we going to do with this information? How is it going to impact my health?
Okay, and if we don't do it, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's just good. You know, if you were giving someone, turning over your money to someone, you'd ask all these questions, and yet we turn over our health.
Body.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
I know.
Well, you're coming back. I'm so excited.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mary Sheehan from Good Medicine, and if you want to get a hold of Mary to get help, you can call her at 330-592-5793 or go to your website at goodmedicinepharmacist.com. Now, I mentioned it in the last show, welcome again, thank you again for being on the show, that Lexi Hotchkiss from Positively Cleveland was going to be starting every other week, and she has something today to tell you about Cleveland that's positively fun.
Thanks, Kathy. Well, as you know, I work at Positively Cleveland, where we're bringing in visitors from all around the world, and I always get asked, what's happening this summer in Cleveland? And one great event that we like to focus on is Parade the Circle. That's held at University Circle on June 11th, and it begins at noon. It's a great arts and cultural parade that really stands out in Cleveland. It's a really unique gem that we have, but it's a parade that goes around University Circle. It draws about 60,000 people, so get there early. And they've got everything from colorful floats to puppets to musicians and dancers. It's just a really unique event, family friendly, free, and then they've got a lot of make and take crafts also inside the circle as well. So that's happening June 11th at University Circle, and you can go to universitycircle.org or visit us at positivelycleveland.com.
Coming up, is it meddling when a mom wants to warn her grown-up baby boy that he's making a major mistake? Kathy issues a warning of her own. And next week, achoo! Allergies are all around us. We'll offer ways to help you alleviate your offspring's seasonal strife next week on Can You Relate with Kathy Dawson.
Craig and Mark Lindell in Grange Insurance understand that 1 minute you're out there living life to the fullest. The next thing you know, you've got sweeping changes to make and your family's future to think about. Talk to Lindell Insurance about how to save by putting all of your insurance with Grange, protecting your possessions and the ones you love. When things zig instead of zag. contact Lindell Insurance or visit their website.
At Dimitrov Furniture and Design, we know spring is right around the corner. So now's the time to be shopping for seating, inside or out. Order your porch and patio furniture now, and when the weather breaks, Dimitrovs will deliver your new furniture so you can enjoy it for the full season. With over an acre of furniture and accessories to choose from, whether you're looking for inside the house or out, Dimitrovs has one of the largest presentations of seating in Northeast Ohio. Plus, we have easy financing available. Dimitrov Furniture and Design, off I-77 at the Jet Road exit.
This is the Ask Coach Kathy segment. This is where you get the chance to ask me a question and I answer it on the air. So this is this week's question. Kathy, my son is a single 30-year-old and is headed into a relationship with a married woman. I really want to help my son see that this is not a good choice for him. How far should a parent go to help an adult child? Okay. The operative phrase here is adult child. You have, as hard as it is, you have zero control over the choices that your son makes. Now, what you can do is if he comes to you and decides he wants to share this information with you, you can give your perspective. Now, perspective is different than advice. If he says, Mom, I don't know what to do, what do you think I should do? You can still say, are you asking for my advice? And if he says yes, share it with him, but realize he still may make another decision. So the best thing you can do is give him the space to see what his choices are, what's right for him, what's not right for him. Now, if you have a question that you'd like to write in, I'm happy to answer it on the air. Stay tuned because we'll be right back. I'll tell you what's coming up in next week's show.
You can get in touch with Kathy by calling 216-932-5016 or visit kathythecoach.com.
Thank you so much for tuning into Can You Relate? You'll want to watch next week's show because we're going to be talking about dear old dads. Father's Day will be coming up. And what factor do fathers have on their sons and how they become fathers? So we'll see you next Monday on Can You Relate?
Wardrobe provided by Aurora Farms Premium Outlets. Hair and makeup courtesy of John Roberts Salon and Spa. Want to learn more about today's topics? Suggest segments? Add your input. You can do all this and more at www.canyourelatetv.com. Can You Relate with Kathy Dawson is presented by CK Media Productions.